We are live. Awesome. Okay, so Kubernetes time, part 3. Netanel is joining us again. We have a cluster provisioned. I have previously deployed on a previous cluster that was destroyed. I've deployed nginx and some CRD, but I did that through Terraform, and that looked like it sucked. So today we're gonna try to actually deploy some workloads, not with Terraform, but actually through Helm or kubectl or something. Nathaniel will guide me through it, maybe. Let's
Okay.
see. Yeah.
Yeah. So the simplest thing that you can do is you could just run kubectl apply -f on some file before you get into
Yeah.
like actually CI/CD, whatever, you know.
Yeah. Probably I want to re-authenticate with the new cluster,
Okay.
right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise it won't work.
Yeah. And
Well,
now,
you should know that if you cat home / dot cube cube, right? So that's gonna have like if you go to /config, you won't want to cat it because it might have credentials.
yeah, that's
There
all
we
right. That's all
go. Okay.
right. Like
So
this is a shit cluster. Everyone can. If someone caught the private key, well, good luck
yeah,
for them. It will be destroyed by the end of this stream, probably.
yeah, maybe several times. Anyway, so that's
Yeah.
it's important to know. Like, I like knowing like the technical details of what actually is happening. So that file is where kubectl looks for its credentials or saves its credentials and other configuration to go to cluster. So if you do kubectl, what is it? Use, let's see, let me give you what you're looking for. Do you know how, oh yeah, kubectl config get dash contexts. If you run that, let's see what we have. Get dash contexts. No, without a dash. Like literally get dash contexts. Yeah. Okay, so we have a couple of contexts here.
Yeah.
Future, yeah. So, for example, if you go back to the kube config, you don't have to do that now, but you could change the name of the context, etc. So the kube config file manages the different contexts for the clusters and different clusters. Sorry, no, it only manages cluster names. So, for example, whatever in my job we have 5 clusters. So I go between them a lot, all the time, basically, and
Yeah.
that's useful. Okay. Aside from that, so kubectl apply -f is a file. So if you just want to apply to the default namespace, if you don't specify -n, you know, if you find some, let's see, what file is interesting to apply. I guess you could do the cow thing that Docker always uses, right? The hello cow. I don't remember what that's called.
Cowsay. Cowsay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So that would be, I think, useful. So if you open your editor on some file, you know.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I have PyCharm even closed because I rebooted my machine. So, yeah. Let's bring this back. Actually, I think let's bring it back one directory lower.
Yeah, I think just understanding that generally the mindset is just like in all of the rest of programming, you're just editing text files all the time. So that's kind of what running a Kubernetes cluster is, I think.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, here we have our cluster provisioned.
Right.
Yeah, do we want to do that through, like, this is, let's imagine this is like a Terraform module that is now like fully provisioned and we probably don't want to touch it whatsoever, right?
Basically, you want to touch Terraform minimally.
Yeah.
You want to provision the minimum amount of resources as possible, especially because, you know, in a production environment, you're going to want to give the least amount of people access to Terraform because you could destroy your whole production environment if you do that.
Yep.
And once you separate between the application level stuff and like how do you say tashtit?
Infra.
The infrastructure level, then you could give many more developers, they could do whatever they want basically on the cluster, and they can't destroy like AWS roles, etc. So I would open another directory for playing around with actual resources, in kubectl, and also because Terraform sucks.
Yeah. It sucks in delicate ways, let's say. Like
it also sucks in indelicate ways, like the language itself is awful. So, once you do anything complex with it, it's just awful.
Yeah. Okay, so we're in the same Git project, but in another directory. What do we want to actually write here? So
all right, so you're gonna touch cowsay.yaml, probably. And just copy cowsay YAML from Google, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know it by heart,
Yeah, probably.
Oh, I see a bunch of cowsay YAMLs. All right.
Yeah, cowsay YAML.
Huh.
Whalesay.
Whalesay. That's fine. I'm fine with Whalesay. If you want to be anal about it, you could change the file name. Oh no, but I see. The image is Whalesay for some reason. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
But it is cowsay. I see. So
the image is Whalesay, but the command is cowsay. Whatever. So I want to explain a couple of things. I don't know if you've looked at a lot of like Kubernetes files before. The two main things you're going to interact with on an application level are jobs and pods, mostly pods. Jobs are more niche. You could see the kind on line 2 as a job, right?
Yeah.
So deployments are more interesting usually to application developers because deployments are meant to live forever. And a job is like
launch once.
Is very similar to a deployment, but it runs something once and then exits successfully or unsuccessfully. So this job is supposed to do whatever cowsay, and then it'll tell you if it did something successfully or not. I've done a lot of work with jobs. I think people tend to not like it. And a lot of times you could do the same thing with deployments and jobs if you're like sophisticated, but the thing that you want to do is kind of like with HTML, where you want to use the semantic names for the stuff that you want to do in order to make things more readable. And also in the future, when you might want to add features, you might discover that the semantic job has features that make sense for things that run only once, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now if you run kubectl apply whalesay YAML, what I like always doing before you do that is just running watch on kubectl get jobs. For instance. So kubectl get jobs also has a -w, but I don't like the -w of kubectl because it kind of does it iteratively, and I like that it just refreshes. So So if you want, so watch kubectl. I don't know if you need quotes or not. I don't know if you've done watch before. No, so it's just get space jobs. The context thing is an outlier. Usually get is the is like the CLI command for everything, basically.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So it'll refresh every 2 seconds. And now since we're applying it, I think in the default namespace, if you go back to the YAML, I want to see if a namespace is specified. Yep, it's going to be in the default namespace. So we should be able to see it just by running, because I assume we're in the default namespace right now.
Yeah,
so
probably.
Yeah. Okay, it's going to have to pull the whalesay image.
Yeah.
And if you could also run now kubectl logs whalesay. Is that going to work? No. So you have to run kubectl get pods because the job is kind of like the spec and the pod is what literally runs.
Yeah.
Okay. So you could see it generated a dynamic name for the pod based on the job name.
Yeah.
Why doesn't it like that? Oh, okay. So it has container creating, so it doesn't have pods yet. But if you run, no, so it's going to keep doing that until you see. So if you run another watch, this is what I said in that Facebook comment, basically, that I have like these watch like panels running constantly when I'm working on something. So if you do watch kubectl get pods. Nice. So you could see, so it's getting an error image pool, which is interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder. Maybe
okay.
Docker? I don't know actually.
First of all, maybe it's just whalesay, and let's just be.
I wonder. We could try that.
Let's try that. I need to build up my intuition here, so let's try to apply that.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have to.
Whalesay invalid.
Job names within the same namespace need to be unique. I don't know if what you. I didn't catch the full thing. I think you could do generate name and not just name. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, the metadata name is the important thing up there, not the container name, because metadata name is the resource name, the job name. I don't know if you could do generate name for a job. You could look that up in the Kubernetes docs, right?
Yeah.
Wonder. Yeah, so you could try doing that. Instead of name, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
And let's try again the whalesay at latest.
You could try. I wonder what the actual problem is. Let's see. Cannot use generate name. Oh, interesting. Okay, so apply doesn't work with generate name. Okay. That's fine. So you just do whalesay, and then you would have to delete the previous job. You could do that too. You could editing it if you want.
So how do we delete a job?
kubectl delete.
Okay.
Oh, but if you delete, you have to specify the resource name. So it'll be kubectl delete job. And then the job name.
Oh, it also knows whalesay. Interesting.
Are you using the warp AI? Or you did tab? I don't know.
No, I think it just... how did it know?
Is that warp AI?
It's not AI. I don't think so. It's just warp.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought like as far as I know, warp does not know how to autocomplete like with AI generated completions. Not like that.
Oh.
I mean, it can. If I go pound and then ask something, then I can say Kubernetes delete all jobs or something. And then it will suggest commands. But yeah.
Wow, kubectl delete all -- all is the absolute worst thing that it could possibly give you to do.
Bobby drop tables basically.
Yeah. Okay.
So where were we? We were in delete job, waiting for this to somehow autocomplete, and let's delete the whalesay thing.
Right.
Yeah, and then it's terminating also this one. Okay, so like I see why running watch is a good thing.
Yes. Yeah.
I like my keyboard shortcuts are limiting us to like 4 panes at a time. So this is like the best I could do. Like
that's fine. You could also open whalesay in Nano or Vim if you prefer.
No. What I mean is, okay, so we can now try to apply this again. So we'll say
Okay. There we go.
container creating.
Nice. I assume it'll have the same image. I don't know because I've never configured a cluster like from scratch. Maybe you have to do something for it to like know that it should go to docker.com or whatever it is to get the index. I don't know if by default it just knows how to go to Docker Hub.
I think Docker Hub is definitely the default. Like, and as you can see also here, it's now container creating. It's not like I don't think it's having an error pulling the image. We can.
Okay, so I could teach you another. I could teach you another interesting command that you're going to be using a lot, which is kubectl describe.
Yeah.
And then after describe, you're going to have to give the resource type, so it'll be a pod. And then the pod name.
Wow. This is okay. Error image pull. Awesome. So.
Okay, so fail to pull. What is exactly fail to resolve reference? Docker.io library will say latest. It is. Okay, it looks like it's going to the right registry.
Yeah.
But maybe it doesn't have an egress out to Docker.
I don't think so. Okay. Maybe we should go. So first of all, it is. Well, so they have overridden like the Cowsay executable. And let's go with docker/wellsay colon latest. And if that won't work, then we will get back to colon latest. And let's delete job wellsay. Wow, I mean the fact that it has autocomplete right now is kind of
it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean I didn't expect my terminal to be so nice to me.
Actually, I've used Warp a bit. I kind of still prefer iTerm. Warp it's too padded. I just don't like the aesthetic, and they don't allow enough customization for like the UI. So I just stopped using it. I don't know.
I mean,
I also don't like the AI stuff, really. I think just too many services like shoved it in without thinking about it enough.
So first of all, like I just don't use the AI stuff, and their PMs will probably notice that people probably don't use it as much, and then they will stop bleeding money towards OpenAI. But sometimes it is nice that you can just access a dumbed down version of ChatGPT right there in your terminal without context switching.
What I would really want is for them to enable me to just access ChatGPT instead of their wrapper.
So the wrapper is just ChatGPT with a system prompt that says be more biased towards solving macOS problems.
So you know what? Let me decide what the custom instructions are, and let me see my command history. Like, just let me handle my own ChatGPT.
Yeah, but you get that for free here. You don't need to have an account with OpenAI for that. So
all right, I know.
Yeah. So
I'm paying OpenAI anyway, so
yeah, I know. Me too, and that's why maybe for us, power users that actually know what system prompts are and like we actually want to use them, that might not be useful. But for people who just want their shiny terminal to have free access to ChatGPT, that's quite nice, I think.
Interesting. That's a nice hack, actually. Maybe I'll tell people that don't have ChatGPT 4 to just download Warp.
So it's not ChatGPT 4 probably, it's 3.5.
So even worse. All right. Okay, let's look at what whale-say is doing.
Image pull back off. So yeah, it's
I want to run describe again just to see that it's exactly the same. The annoying thing about the generated name is that you have to constantly. That's why I have the panes open all the time. Okay.
Yeah, but apparently, like I don't need the pane open. I just autocomplete my way to it.
No, I wonder if it's because the panes are open.
I can close them, and we can definitely just So we'll see. I mean, it's nice to have a kubectl get pods. I mean, just to see the status, but I think it's actually like polling the namespace. Yeah. So
Nice.
it
Nice.
also has like a small networking delay. So like it at least feels like yeah. Anyhow, let's go back to
Honestly,
actually
it's honestly very cool. I would just Google the error message, the second to last one.
second to last one. Fail to pull,
Yeah,
fail
that
to pull
looks
an
like
attack, head, timeout. Yeah. So timeout is deadline. That's the just RPC error. Yeah. Failed over twice over 75 seconds. Yeah, so image pull back off is basically, yeah.
no. So what I'm
Probably,
saying is just I would just Google like the fail to pull and unpack image Docker whatever. No,
uh,
that's a generic error that could happen for any reason, really. Really, you're not going to get anything interesting from that.
I
And
mean,
the actual like essential error is the second to last one.
this one.
Uh, I think I would actually Google it. It'll give Google more context if you give it the Docker IO, Docker will say latest, because we're not going to be the first people to see this.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then you give it too many words and it doesn't like that. There we go.
that's not true.
That's
Um,
that's not what we got.
no.
Sometimes the system, I wonder.
Oh, by the way, if we actually want to, okay, let's just smash this into our AI assistant just because we can.
Okay, all right. I know you're a warp shill, so
Yeah, I know. They definitely they don't pay me enough to for the amount of advertisement I do for them.
yeah.
Pseudo system CTL reset kubelet. Sure.
Why really though? Like, what's the actual error? That's the question.
Um,
Can you ask it like, why does this happen? Because we want to learn something from this?
sure. Let's just.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, like the text interface sucks for some reason. Why did I get this error?
Okay.
Uh,
I wonder if they use the new 3.5.
I think they're like updating just like everybody. They just point to the latest, GPT-5 Turbo or something, and everything. Yeah.
Right. You zoom in. I'm finding it hard to read
Oh,
that.
I don't think Warp supports zooming this in, so that's
Ooh, accessibility. All right.
yeah. Okay. We can go with the ChatGPT Plus and like actually debug.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah, and use
but
4. Yeah,
what?
and use 4. Yeah.
Yeah, use for, but also we can just be good language models ourselves. And actually, let's look at the logs from Google. They will probably have more insight than us. So
Interesting. Okay.
yeah. Let's just go.
Yeah, that's one nice thing that I think AWS is worse than in Google is the log things.
Yeah. So as you can see here, we've got image error image pull. That's the original one. The back off is basically I've tried too much to pull and failed, and then I'm backing off. So let's just go with this one. View logs. Yeah. So by the way, like this logging interface is not bad.
No, it's not bad.
Yeah. It's not amazing because as you can see, there's so much wasted.
There's too much going on, really.
Yeah. Too much going on, but we can zoom this in a little bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, metadata, message fields, 0, message, nothing.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom and I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I think I know what's the problem. I think I know what the problem is. You're muted. So what I did in order to bypass all of Google's quotas crap, I've made all the nodes private, basically. Maybe they don't have internet access now.
That's what I said, that there was an egress problem. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so what do you say about trying to, let's just update the node pool, like the big one,
Okay.
the actual one. Let's just disable this.
Okay.
And let's actually Terraform apply this, and we'll see if this actually solves our problems. We could also like manually edit the cluster.
No, this is what you need Terraform. I mean, this is what you, after spending 8 hours setting up Terraform, this is the most amazing thing that you can, like, you're finally reaping the
benefits. Yeah.
The benefits, yeah.
Yeah, somehow it didn't do anything, no changes. That's untrue. Provision GKE cluster. I'm in the GKE file. I removed this one.
Maybe the default is true?
No. Definitely not. Let's just go with false, and then it will definitely be...
Need to do something, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Reaping the benefits, my ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it says no, nothing to do, okay, yeah. Yes.
Interesting.
So there are 3 nodes on, like, one node in each AZ within US Central 1 here.
Yeah.
It will now provision an IP address to each of them, which is totally a waste of IP addresses.
I guess. Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know, we've got only 4 billion. I'm feeling like I'm stealing resources from humanity now.
You could do IPv6 if you really want to.
I mean...
Which is, you might spend 3 weeks doing that, but...
Yeah, I mean, why is it not the default? Because even Google can't do it, so, I mean, the fact that IPv6 is still broken in the internet is such a crying shame.
Look, it's like HTTP2. There will be an IPv8, and then everyone will just go to that.
You mean like the fact that we're basically skipping H2 and going to H3, but also not really?
I don't know. H3 seems pretty amazing, honestly. So.
H3 seems amazing just because it bypasses everything that we've done smart in TCP. Or not smart, but things that were relevant to TCP back in the time, and we cannot just update TCP to support that because we've got too many needle boxes.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that they just used UDP because hardware does not introspect UDP packets that much is such a hack. Are you aware of that? Like, this is basically the reasons
I know Quick is over UDP, and that's what gives it such, like, the performance benefits, really. Yeah.
So
it's TCP, UDP, yeah.
Yeah. So apart from actually like a TCP versus UDP, I mean, the fact that they couldn't use TCP like for a lot of the things that they wanted to use that, just because there's so much security introspection going on to TCP packets in worldwide that basically like a lot of security boxes would just drop packets if they saw something funny in them. And specifically, that is why we cannot have nice things like send like do the TCP and SSL handshake in the same packets. Because you have extra space on the first connection packets, and you could have sent your identity with them, but you cannot do that because if you put any kind of payload that's not like the TCP handshake payload on the ACK in ACK cycle, packets would get dropped. No funny
I
business
mean, yeah,
with TCP. Yeah,
that's the
basically.
reasoning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Wow,
Still
still
modified.
modifying.
Yeah. Remember when I said like you have no visibility whatsoever, like with Terraform? That's the
Oh,
thing.
remember when you said Terraform is what's it called? Is broken in delicate ways. So it takes an eternity to do anything. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
not delicate. So
Yeah, but we are somewhere in the middle.
oh, that's
Updating.
pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
as I
Google
said.
Cloud ability. I remember debugging Lambda in CloudWatch like 4 or 5 years ago. I assume it's better now, but it was just awful. Like just awful.
Yeah, so this progress bar really gives you some perceived feeling of progress, even though like it will be on 67% for quite a long time. But you get a nice spinner, so you know you feel happier about that usually.
Yeah. Maybe getting an IP is really expensive.
No,
So what is
no.
it that's wrong?
We can dive into the pool and actually see what's going on with the pool.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So if we see
Cordonium.
cordon, the fuck is cordoned?
I don't know. What does that mean?
And I'm not sure, but
No,
I
I,
think
I used to go to the English definition first and then go to the overloaded tech definition. So
cordoned prevent access to or from an area building by surrounding it with police or other guards.
sounds like it's queued, basically.
Um, so um, I believe what we are maybe against the public IP limit again.
Interesting.
Um, let's just go to APIs and services. Go to where is it? Fail to load
That's
metrics.
really annoying that you can't like pay $5 more to get a bigger quota or
I mean,
something.
I can talk to sales, but you know, it's like talking to sales.
That's another 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't have 2 weeks. Compute engine API. Let's just. But it is nice that I get to like introspect into like the deep end of what's going on in the cloud console, and like I know where the actual information might be just by sniffing it with my nose. Yeah. Do you see that? That's our in-use IP addresses.
Ugh. Okay.
Indeed.
Can you destroy one of the, that was, yeah, this is an Israeli, ugh. Can you destroy one of
Yeah.
the nodes?
Yeah. So what I can do, this will obviously never end. So I can just shut that down.
Which is, great that Terraform never tells you. Yeah.
Yeah. And let's just delete one zone and like continue with our lives. What do you say about that?
Well, don't you have to delete the num nodes? I mean, decrement it?
No, because it's node per zone. It's the
Node per zone. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. But then that's weird because node count is going to be 3, no?
Node count is going to be 4 because yeah, it is going to be 3. But we have like I think one public IP for the cluster management maybe, and
Okay.
and 4 others for the VMs because we've got like the default node. This is like the junk node node cluster that we need to not delete because this actually sucks. Deleting this and yeah, so initial node count. So we have one here in the US Central A, and now we have 2 more in our other zones. What's going on? So yeah, execution halted. Let's try to apply that again. And if it will say that something is broken, then we'll try to I don't know, destroy everything. Yeah. So yeah. This is like the broken shit that I really hate, basically.
Yeah, it's also GKE. I think EKS would be more smooth. GKE,
Really?
GKE kind of sucks, basically. Yep.
Interesting. Okay. I think I will like give I'll give AWS a spin somewhere down the line. I mean,
that's what my DevOps guy says, and he really knows stuff. So, and Azure is the worst from all three of them, I think.
Yeah, so Azure is something that I know is bad because I have some friends working in Microsoft and they are dog-fed to use Azure and they suffer immensely. They immensely, like, really, it is just terrible. But we can try now. Okay, so this is probably, yeah, being stopped. Awesome. So this should actually converge at some point. But we now have actual external IPs.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so it's actually done. Okay, and now we can actually, first of all, let's have another window and let's kubectl, what was it, watch?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is kubectl get pods, get jobs. What did we?
Don't you just have like navigation with the arrows?
What?
I mean, just navigate up and down with the arrows? No?
What do you mean?
It's completed. It looks like it's completed because the image pullback off stopped, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's the job view. The pod view probably is more interesting to you. Right.
Get pods.
Okay. So the pod is destroyed already. Cool.
Awesome. So
I would do it again.
Yeah. So let's snap that into this place and apply this again. No.
We're not in the right CD. Yeah. There is something to say for people who hate cloud. Like, how many CPU cycles do you need to render an ASCII whale? And the answer is hundreds of billions, because everything that we did now is pretty crazy. Okay.
Yeah, you need one, you need a multi-core laptop to issue a kubectl command for a multi-core cluster spread across 3 availability zones. And
it's not just that. It's you have to edit the Terraform. It doesn't work. You have to go to the Google Cloud Console. It doesn't work. You have to change 100. Like, we've probably cut down a couple of trees just doing this. Okay. Now we want to log because it will be interesting to see the.
Yeah, but this is unchanged. So how do I relaunch it? I just change the name, or do I need to first delete and then reapply it?
Possible, yeah. Apply is like an upsert basically. I think you should delete the resource and then apply it again.
Yeah.
And what I would do, right? I would put another watch pane, which I like doing. Oh no, I doubt it. Whatever. And then you could do you should have it on the jobs and the pods. That's what I like doing. Right. Okay. Then you apply it, and then you're going to run kubectl logs whalesay. Logs whalesay. Yeah.
Yeah. So this one, and you're saying another terminal, and
that's all we need. Yeah. Whalesay, and you could do -F too.
Like that?
I think so. Yeah. No, not whalesay.yaml, just whalesay. Is it going to say it doesn't know how to do logs for a job? I don't know how to do job logs. You could do no, you could do the pod. Yeah. -F. No, you don't need to write pod. I think you could do a -F whalesay, -P6, px6, whatever.
What?
Oh, like the name of the pod, basically, not
I see.
It should have tab completions, by the way. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So.
No, just you could also do that, I think. But logs -F is by default on pods, I believe. So if you do whalesay -px, yeah. Okay. Yay!
Awesome. So that took forever, but we do have our whalesay.
That's right. That's right. And now if you want to go back and edit things and, change the ASCII or add different flags, then that's very easy to do, basically. And you should know, we didn't get into namespaces at all. Do you know anything about namespaces?
Not really. Like I from the context of like understanding what Kubernetes does, it basically is just another hierarchy level that I can use to segregate resources in the same cluster.
That's right. That's exactly what it is. Everything that we did now is in the default namespace. But once you have hundreds of resources, you're going to hit collisions. So you're going to want to have different namespaces for things, basically.
So like in a sane world, I'd say like I'd separate, I don't know, namespaces for different let's say services.
Namespaces for different services, different jobs, different service accounts, etc. Some resources are namespaced and some resources aren't namespaced. So kubectl get nodes, nodes aren't namespaced in Kubernetes. So if you run kubectl get nodes, cool. You could see 3 different nodes are up, which is cool. And now you could run kubectl get node and then the name of the node.
Get node.
Yep.
The autocomplete is so nice.
Right. So by default, it doesn't give you anything more than what you see when running get nodes, but you could do get node -o. -o is the output. So if you do -o, for example, YAML, then you see like the YAML output of what the node is, basically. And you should know that when you do kubectl apply -f, the YAML that gets applied is kind of like a live resource. So the YAML keeps getting updated. So for instance, you could see there might be status up here or like events or if you scroll the YAML, what I'm saying. What does bat do?
Bat is cat with like a lot of improvements.
Okay.
Cat. No, bat CLI.
That birds or something.
A cat clone with wings. It's basically the thing that you always wanted. It's like cat. It's less. It has syntax highlighting. It knows when it's interactive and it knows when it's actually pipelined, and then it just acts like a regular shell command.
The reason I don't like the reason I use cat a lot of the times is because I don't like paging, usually.
So like, but it does not page unless the contents are larger than 1 page. So let's just pipe that into head and then -n10. So bat will just do the thing, and then it's not paginated. But
cool.
right, yeah. Anyway, anyhow, like catting, like bat is like you can use it on both ends of the pipe, and it will do different things. But it does these things well, basically.
That's pretty cool. What did I want to show you? For instance,
Status.
the creation timestamp, right? Or conditions. You could see conditions as like a live part of the document, basically, right? So remember when you did apply -f and it said resource unchanged.
Mm-hmm.
So if you did kubectl get job -o YAML, you could do that for most of the resources, I think. Then you would see that it has like these live attributes, basically. You don't have to do that. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's an interesting thing that you can do. -o YAML gives you like the live resource, and then describe gives you more info, but it gives it in a kind of weird output style that's not YAML, which is annoying to parse. So there are different ways to do that.
See
so like I was saying, nodes are not namespaced. What else? Are service accounts namespaced? I'm not sure. Anyway, so there's some resources that are not namespaced, and pods and jobs and deployments and all those things are in fact namespaced. And the way you do it is you could just add a -n and then the name of the namespace for anything.
Yeah.
So if you do kubectl get namespace, obviously namespaces aren't namespaced, right?
Yeah.
So you could see a couple of different things. Some of them are like things that you've never interacted with, but just things that GKE manages for you. or kubectl manages for you. Kubesystem is an important one, for instance. We've been doing everything in the default namespace. You could change the namespace that you're using right now. People usually don't do that because you need to jump between namespaces anyway. You'll usually want to have like one thing that's like the main namespace that you're looking at right now, because adding on -n is kind of annoying. But using the fully qualified line using -n is also useful because you want to scroll your history a lot of times and you want a line that always just works, that you don't need to, that doesn't depend on context, basically.
Yeah. It seems like reproducibility is key here because there's so much configuration going on. So yeah. Oh, looks like we've lost Netanel. That's quite unfortunate, but I believe he will probably join in a minute or two. So while we're waiting for Netanel to maybe rejoin, maybe not, let's think about what we can actually do here. Okay, there you are, or maybe not.
Sorry, I was just not paying attention to the battery. Whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, reproducibility is key here. You're going to be running hundreds or thousands of commands in the command line. And you're going to want to be able to page through them with a history, which is annoying because Mac updates recently have been just deleting my Zesh history, which is amazing. So, that's it about namespaces.
I want to respond with the meme of that's why I don't update my Mac, but
it forces you anyway.
It does not, no.
And not just that, there was a very crazy 0-day a couple of months ago.
Yeah, so I'm this is not an advice to not update your Mac. Like, update your Mac, definitely.
Yeah.
What I mean is,
you might not want to update to the next version, but patches you definitely want to update.
Yeah, exactly. So don't go majors if everything just works for you, but like update your security patches, please.
Yeah, that's Casey Moratori's like I think most useful advice for me anyway is never update your dev tools. He said that mostly about Visual Studio breaking all the time.
Really interesting.
Not VS Code, Visual Studio.
Yeah, so like VS Code, you cannot really stop it from updating because it's a website served in a frame. But
yeah, I'm too much of a child, and I'm still excited by like release notes and things, so I update things constantly. And honestly, VS Code is very rarely broken anything for me. But Visual Studio might be a different thing. I don't know.
I think Visual Studio was like born to be broken from the get-go because it's such a huge product,
right?
And it has like the most amount of legacy that you can have in a dev tool, basically, at this point.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So like Hiram's law, I think it's Hiram's law, like the one with like people just everything. People depend on everything as if it's an API, even if it's like broken behavior from the beginning. I think it's Hiram's law.
It's the C language philosophy, basically.
I mean, not philosophy. Yeah, all observable behavior of a system will be dependent on by somebody. Mm-hmm. So like Visual Studio has been out there so long that any observable behavior is now legacy that needs to be preserved. Like
yep.
Yeah, I tend to actually try to update everything in my DevTools just so I won't get used to like bad behaviors, basically. So I try also to use like the minimal amount of feature sets from my editors and my IDEs. Like I use like the useful stuff. I don't use like the niche corner stuff.
Yeah, PyCharm constantly breaks things for me.
Yeah, exactly.
This code just doesn't, though. Like,
What?
honestly, it
Interesting.
hasn't broken for me, basically. But using the command line for things is usually the way to go, basically.
Yeah.
Because of that, yeah. Okay, so we know about namespaces, we know about jobs, we know about pods. Deployments, I think, is the interesting thing that you'd want to do. I would try to find like some kind of toy, like I don't know, some kind of toy deployment that just deploys static, like a web server that just has like static documents. Just so we can see what a deployment is. A deployment is usually, it's just a resource that's meant to control a service that lives forever. And
Yeah.
you kind of, I think you could auto scale the number of pods that it has. But basically, that's what a deployment is. So I think it would be interesting to just get a demo server running right now.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so first of all, maybe we want to, like, I don't know, should you introduce me to Helm, maybe? Because
you want to get into Helm right now? I would stay first in the happy like what's it called? Unaware state right now with Helm and all the yeah. Let's just find a very basic deployment that we could track without Helm and apply it with the pi minus f. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know. Fast
HTML or nginx like basic deployment. Hello world. Hello world is always good. Yeah.
So like nginx is nice, but what I don't like about that is, first of all, like I won't use nginx only. I would actually use the backend, not just the static file server. So I'd wonder, how do we actually deploy, like multiple actual servers, not because I would have just the one nginx.
Well, the nginx is just the proxy, right?
Yeah, I know. This is what I mean. This is why I don't like nginx, because it's
but nginx proxies to several backend servers.
Yeah.
I don't understand, right?
You are correct. What I mean is I'm missing the backend server here. Like I can copy that and like paste it in, and
yeah, you know what? Let's just go for K8s Fast API.
So
fast graduate to something more.
Yeah, I mean, Fast API, Fast API Kubernetes.
JetBrains should be pretty good. Yeah. So, whatever.
Yeah, JetBrains. Should be pretty good. That's true.
Nope.
Nope. By the way,
this kind of goes through the whole thing. So.
No, but there's no YAML here. This is basically
is there no YAML?
There's no YAML here. This is like this is how you deploy this with Docker.
In containers. No, we want K8s. Hello world. I would put that in exactly. Oh no, I would quote K8s.
I see. You would quote K8s. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, but Google is like being not nice to my quotes.
Yep.
Yeah, but okay. Hello world, Fast API. So creating a Docker. What is it with people in Dockers?
What, if they want to deploy their own image? There's absolutely no reason to do that.
So Minikube ingress. No, that's not gonna help us.
No, well, not Stack Overflow, I think, but that's interesting. He actually has the whole thing.
Fast API app, but okay.
You could see replicas 1, right? I don't know if you missed that.
Yeah. So replicas 1 means at most one alive service at any given point, or?
That's right. I think the service below is what the thing that actually serves. That actually is like the load balancer. That's actually not my strong suit. I don't usually. I don't really touch the deployments that we have. I mostly deal with like the jobs and internal stuff in the backend. I haven't touched our actual serving mechanism in a long time. Docker Hub. Interesting. UVcorn, Gunicorn, Fast API. Okay.
I mean, that's by Tiangolo, which is like, the creator of Fast API, but this will probably not. This is probably a base. You probably don't need this Docker image. You're probably using Kubernetes or similar tool.
You can build a Docker image from scratch, but the interesting thing about containers is that you could feed any string command that you want to run. So you could kind of cheat it by just inlining the actual Fast API code by not building your own Docker image from scratch if you want.
Yeah, but that sounds like a lot of like fiddly work that we can't do that now. But
all right, it's your call. Yeah.
Optionally Alpine. I mean, I don't like this so much. Deprecated tags, no supported. So what is provided by this image? Like, is this like just a Python installation that basically just has?
You could, click one of them and see.
Oh, that's right.
Docker Hub started doing this annoying. Oh, okay, interesting. It just shows you the steps.
Yeah, no, we need to go to the tags themselves, and then we can go to the latest one, and then we can see the steps.
Yeah, I don't like this view that they have.
Yeah, but it does sort of work. So yeah, we have Tiangolo here and start sh.
Does it clone something? Where does it getting its files from?
So it was copied probably it was copied from some the build. We can go to the repo where this was built and we can see what's going on here, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's find out if this would work for us.
Are you sure this is what you want to use? Like, if he's saying you don't need it, then you're saying you just want to use his. I just
want to see like a hello world that somebody enabled us to pull from Docker Hub, because I don't want to actually build this. So Docker. Yeah. So scripts. It has a lot of stuff here, but I want to find like the actual app main.py. Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
So this seems like the thing that we actually want to use to test our app.
Yep.
So let's just pull this from from Fast API. What's the actual name of this layer? Okay, so it has a really long name, but we can just copy that and just use the latest, because we don't need to care about anything. Yeah. So how would you go about this? Would you actually create these from scratch, or would you just copy around, duplicate the files, and just edit them inline?
You never create anything in K8s from scratch. If you do, then you're crazy. It's kind of like writing your own, hex assembly. So we're not going to be doing that.
Okay, so so
copy it in, have it break, and then fix it.
Yeah, Fast API. So this actually makes me a little bit sad, but sure.
I mean, that's what I would do. Maybe I'm not enough of a hacker. Then.
I mean, no, it makes me sad because it means we haven't got to the point where we can have nice things here, and we don't need a command probably.
That's right.
And
there's a command.
Yeah, and that's a Fast API.
Right. The kind is going to be different, and the API version is going to be different as well. The kind is going to be, I don't remember. No, the kind is going to be a deployment.
Yeah. And then the spec.
I'll tell you, hey, your spec is off, you're using a deployment. I don't remember what the spec is. Yeah, I never just hand code these YAML files. So I don't support this.
You don't support this. Okay, so let's find Kubernetes deployment YAML.
I think the Stack Overflow answer has it.
Oh, did it? It did.
Yes.
So we just.
I mean, basically, what he was using just Fast API latest, which might be fine too.
No, he's using some custom image, but I just wanted something that's a little bit more let's say
bare bones. Yeah.
Tiangolo UVcorn.
Oh, you use one of those clipboard things, which I don't like.
You don't
Because
like that. You're afraid
because
of
I'm
the.
afraid.
Yeah. So I have decided that I'm not working on important stuff that much that can actually like break, and I use something that's it's
No,
offline.
it's not just that. You stream, and if someone sees your bank password, then
My bank password is never in my clipboard. I
Okay.
use a password manager, and it's inputted, directly. I don't need to copy it in and paste it in.
I use the password manager, but sometimes you copy things. So
Yeah. So in that case, like I usually just don't use when I'm dealing with secrets. I try to not use the clipboard manager. And also, if you look at this, usually you can see only a few characters. It's enough. My passwords, because they're randomly generated, they're usually like 40 characters long. They just don't fit into the thing.
Oh, that's very interesting. Can you send me the name of that app, or just tell me?
Clippy.
Clippy. Okay. For Mac.
Yeah. Yeah.
Install Clippy.
I think so. It's a cask, but yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Also, like things that come usually with Brew, I suppose I trust a little bit more, even though it might not be actually granted. So we have our service node port. We've got our fast API app.
I think look at like Kubernetes always says never use node port. Node port is not production ready because blah 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 blah. I don't know. I don't remember why, and I don't really care.
I think it's like we need the load balancer or something, right? We need.
Yeah, but let's not do that right now. It's just why.
I mean, and if I say to you, I have a quasi YAML load balancer here in my in the tutorial. We can try to like what?
Doesn't mean enough to me. Like, again, I've never like load balanced services. So
here in this example, what basically this has done was it connected Google's load balancer to like it connected between the ports of Google's load balancer and us, basically. Okay. And it just says the selector basically means you like this is a shit that basically forget. Terraform does that basically to connect the nginx app name from the to the load balancer here to the selector, but it's just we could have just easily had that ourselves. Anyhow, what I mean is we can have a load balancer if we want.
Okay.
So type, let's try load balancer.
Yeah, the thing that bothers me about Kubernetes a lot is that things sound like what they are, but they aren't what they are a lot of times. You're like, type load balancer. That sounds exactly like what I need, but then it's some specific niche thing that has nothing to do with it, or different properties don't exactly map to what you think they mean. But you can go ahead and try.
Yeah,
it's very
protocol. Yeah, I am brave. That is true. So metadata, let's call that a fast API service. Yeah, that's actually a good name. And the port and target port, let's imagine these are port 8000. I think that's like the default the G-Unicorn port. Okay. And node port is not a thing anymore.
Right.
And protocol TCP, I think that's probably the default. We can just have that as our an array.
Okay.
Let's reformat the YAML and let's try to apply this, and let's see the work.
Let's see what it does. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's try to like break everything. So kubectl apply -f fast API. If that works, I will be super surprised. By the way, of course, like this is not a thing.
Okay.
Okay.
You didn't create watch panes, so we don't know what's happening.
What do you mean?
Well, let's see. We have the pod, but you want to be watching. You want to be watching deployments. You want to be watching. You might want to be watching load. I don't know.
Yeah, I see that.
Okay. I see. Okay, there we go.
Ready. That's quite surprising.
that it just worked. Yeah, good for you.
I mean,
Uh,
I don't think that's like a thing that should happen. And not will save. Let's go with fast API. And started container. It successfully pulled and started the container. And we just need to know like what's the actual what's the IP of the load balancer.
okay, so we could do something more basic before we do that. Okay, which would also is also something that you want to know, basically.
Okay.
What I would want to do is SSH into the Fast API pod and run curl 8000, basically.
So like I don't support the concept of like SSHing into a pod in Kubernetes. I think like if this is what I need to do, this is what?
You're very wrong.
I'm super surprised.
Sometimes you want to debug things. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay. So how do I SSH into a pod?
So I have, let's see, I have to run grep on my zesh file. Wait 1 second. Cat src and then grep k exec. Right. So kubectl exec -- stdin -- tty and then the name of the pod and the command is bin bash and then something.
Yeah,
bin
wait.
bash isn't. So I'm just gonna send that to you. You prefer in WhatsApp, right?
It says first of all it's deprecated and will be removed. So so I see. So it's dash. Are
we in? Is it working?
I'm not.
Whoa.
What?
Why is it not doing anything?
Oh, sorry. Dash tty. I haven't copied. Yeah. So what's the $1 for?
Oh no, that's just because I have it as a bash alias like function, but whatever.
Oh, so it's the pod name basically.
Yeah, the $1 is the pod name. TTY is before, I believe.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be. By the way, the -n for namespace could be basically anywhere, usually.
Yeah.
Everything is still in the default namespace, so that's fine.
Yeah, and bin bash and the $2 is for executing a command.
If you wanted to do some specific command, but I think bin bash should be enough. There we go.
Okay.
All right.
So first of all, like amazing that you could actually SSH into and localhost 8000.
See if we have CURL.
Couldn't connect to server. LSOF.
Update.
Yeah. Get update.
Should just be updated. Whatever.
No, usually you remove it to keep the Docker image slim.
Oh, okay.
Apt-get install LSOF. Probably it will say like this is not a thing. Oh, okay.
Wrong.
Okay, and now I have LSOF. Yeah, that's the one I wanted. So -I. Let's try that. And it says root device HTTP unicorn on some weird ass ports.
You could do PS minus something.
Yeah. So it's like nope.
Redirect to bat.
I cannot. I mean, I don't have bat in this container.
Apt install bat. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway.
Top. I really want to just actually let's just. We have the Docker file right here. Like we know.
That's right.
So it says app install command start sh. So let's go to the start shell and actually see what we're doing in this.
You could also just ls it, I mean cat it, or whatever, in the pod.
Oh, that's actually true. That's a way better solution. So cat. Yeah, so this is the thing I hate about warp. Like it messes up shell scripts. Start. Like, yeah, cat. Pre-start main. Okay, let's actually see what. Oh, so it won't be here, but essentially.
Right, so they probably run it through sh. They do like UV-corn start whatever thing.
Yeah, so this is the pre-start script. That's not interesting.
So where?
It might be in the root level.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, beside sh. That's very refreshing, actually. That it's just at the root level. Good for Tiangolo. I like everything he does, basically.
Yeah, so it merges like a lot of configs for us.
Grab the port.
I mean, it's not here. It's not gonna be here.
Okay. A default port. Maybe it searches for a port.
Yeah, so I don't think it should be searching for a port. I think it's probably, let's just go back to this one. So we have start reload and we have the gunicorn config. So gunicorn config. And here we can see port, which is 80. Amazing.
Oh, that's amazing, actually.
Yeah, I mean, like the thing, the HTTP port, the one.
Listen, I really love Tiangolo. He's just unbelievable. I assume you know the philosophy of clusters is that all internal communication can just be HTTP, and then only the egresses and ingresses should be HTTPS?
Yeah, that's... I mean, this is somewhat true as long as you trust you have no malicious code running.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, okay. And this assumption is like, by the way, does not hold for a large deployment, especially if you have some people deploying like research workloads. Let's say they are just running some Jupyter server, like with a lot of crap in that. And
theoretically, you should have separate clusters for that.
Yes, I know, but what I mean is also like once if the network boundaries are set up correctly, yeah, that's true. But also, let's say like deployments like Wix, which I had the honor to introspect into them as a ex Wix worker.
Name drop.
Yeah, I didn't mean to do that, but what I mean is what they did is that they signed internally like all communications with actual keys, and it was still HTTP, so it was transparent, but you could not modify things and have a man in the middle without actually like controlling a node and have access to private keys.
Well, Wix is truly web scale, so.
Wix is truly web scale, and they have truly thought about like really important things, like how to first you optimize by not having HTTPS and TLS. So it's an optimization basically, and you do still sign payloads to make sure that they're not maliciously modified as man in the middle.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have our answer, right?
Yeah, so it is working. It is deployed. We can quit SSHing into our Docker container.
But what we understood is that I think we've bound the wrong port in our deployment.
That is true. That is the actual truth. So container port is not a thing.
Because the default is just 80, I assume?
Actually, no, you know what? Let's actually do this correctly. Yeah, so let's have this one.
Okay.
And
if you run apply again, it should say that it changed the config. Nice.
Yeah, and we still need to figure out where the hell is this being served, like on the public internet.
Yes, I have no idea how to do that.
First of all, we could cheat by looking into the console, to the cloud console, and maybe that's like a good place to start, actually.
Yeah, everything for like anything that's easy is cheating for developing for some reason.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not scalable.
That's true. Yes.
Port 80.
That might be HTTPS.
No. No. It's not. This is the cluster endpoint. This is not the pods endpoint. So this is where I can actually communicate with the cluster via HTTPS.
I'm saying you went to that IP address with HTTP in the address bar.
Yeah, I did intentionally. This won't work. Yeah. First of all, like this certificate is not valid. Like it's only signed by Google. Yeah. So this seems like a Kubernetes response, like kind status. Yeah. It's obviously YAMLified JSON.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, this is obviously not the right thing. What we have is we need to find our public IP. Where could it be? In the logs, this will be probably like the worst place to look for. And so first of all, if we go back to the deployment, the example here, what we had here is we have the load balancer IP as an output of this thing. So it says ingress IP. It's a computed thing. Like I'm not sure how we can introspect into, like without Terraform, introspect into this load balancer and actually get this metadata. But we could try to describe this with Kubernetes, right?
We'll try to describe the ingress for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's describe the ingress. So describe service.
I'm not sure. Maybe ingress. I don't know. I don't know what we're looking for.
Let's actually introspect this YAML file. We can actually merge.
First run get on service and on
service.
Ingress.
Okay, yeah. So service, and it's called Fast API service, basically.
Yeah.
So services, or describe service, and then actually let's see.
By the way, in kubectl allows you to do either the plural or the singular.
Yeah. Okay. By the way, I think we have an IP.
Yeah. I imagine that's public.
Let's try that.
You did HTTP. Oh, there we go. Good for you.
Yeah. I mean, I just copied it from the load balancer ingress. Like this is the place to copy that from.
Okay.
Yeah.
What we don't like right now is that we have one pod running. What if we wanted the minimum replicas to be 2? I think we should change that.
Yeah, let's scale this up. So let's even go for 3 replicas just because we can.
Okay.
Yeah, and this means basically I let Google do the load balancing for me, right? It says that, like, this means. Okay, so I believe this is what you say. Like this is made of magic, like in terms of what for all you know, right? This part of the CMI.
I believe so, and also we don't have an autoscaler right now. All we have is a load balancer.
Okay, so let's apply this and let's see what's going on.
Okay.
So deployment fast API configured.
Immediately that you have the 2 containers creating on the side, right?
Yeah.
It's cool. It didn't terminate the first one. It saw it needed 3. You know, everything is declarative in Kubernetes, so it just created 2 more.
Yeah.
Right. And that's pretty cool. I wonder if there's a way to like actually. There's a way to. Well, I don't know. Whatever. I want to show you one last thing. I have to, I think in 5 minutes, go back to work.
That's all right. I think
Uh,
we've made, I feel like I've made significant progress here. Like we've introspected into a cluster, we've deployed some workloads. This is, I
We
think,
understand about namespaces, deployments, jobs, etc. I want to show you just the VS. Do you have VS Code installed even?
yeah,
I want to show you the VS Code view of Kubernetes. Let's see if you could just open it somehow. Maybe you'll have to install the official extension. I think you will, yeah. There we go, yeah. You can see how many people like it, by the way, which is a lot. It's pretty funny, there are only 36 reviews. Okay, now you're gonna wanna open the Kubernetes. By the way, this is just like my preference, but I like to move the Kubernetes view to the right panel because I like having a file tree and Kubernetes open at the same time a lot of times. You can see you have two clusters. They're named a little awkwardly. Again, you could just go into the kube config and change that if you want. Okay, I want to just give you like a cursory overview here. So first of all, you could look at the namespaces, which is very cool.
Yeah.
You could change namespaces just with a right click, which is also, that's my preferred way to change namespaces, basically.
When you mean change, I see here.
So we were running everything without -n, right?
Yeah.
By default, that's a default namespace. But if you right-click kube public, for instance, you'll see use namespace.
Yeah.
And then if you click that, it'll be immediate. Click it and then go back to our watch panel.
Yeah.
Right. So currently there are no pods running. So we go back to default. Okay. You could open the nodes, which is always very very useful. So if you click one of them, even just click it, like click the actual, you could see when you do that, you could see all the pods running on that node, but basically it runs KGN when you click any resource like a node or a pod, which is useful. If you right click it, you could run describe, which again gives you different data formatted differently. I can't tell you why some data is here and some isn't, but you know, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
If you go to workloads, you'll see jobs, pods, deployments, cron jobs, which we haven't touched or used. Cron jobs are just jobs with a scheduler, basically.
Yeah.
Stateful sets. I don't remember what the difference between a stateful set and a deployment is, but there's some difference.
Stateful set. I think this is like more aimed towards databases, basically. Like when, as far as I know, and I might be wrong here, but having like basically any pod in a deployment can die and like nothing bad should happen. Mostly, like at least in the context of like the grand scheme of things. But this is not true for stateful sets. What?
Yeah. Pods are anonymous in deployment. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, again, this is like semantic. You can achieve the same thing a lot, I think, both in deployments and stateful sets, but semantics mean things in Kubernetes. So, right. And if you go to a network, which is another top level like workloads.
Work, yeah.
You're able to see services, endpoints, ingress, right? And then custom resources is another important one because anything that isn't like in one of these tabs, which is pretty cool. You could see the pods under. If you if you click one of the pods, by the way, you could get another, you can get a pod. Wow, you zoomed in quite a bit there. So if you click one of the pods.
Where are the pods?
So either under the service or under pods, you could see the same thing. Click one of them.
Yeah.
One click. Not the, just that. You could see like if you would run KGP -O YAML, then you get it. But if you right click a pod, there are very interesting options. You can obviously get or delete or describe, but you could also terminal, which is great.
Yeah, so terminal is actually, getting basically what you did. Like
I like it because it usually shows you what it's running to get that terminal running. Basically what I did, exactly. You can also port forward, which is really, really useful.
Yeah.
So if you
Wow.
right click again, port forwarding is just kubectl port forward. That's all it runs, and you could see it running the exact same thing.
Yeah.
You can
So
do
8080.
80 or you can do whatever. I usually do like whatever localhost 8000, and then
Yeah.
you could see
This.
exactly
By the
what it's
way.
running. It says you can't run on 80, obviously,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's fine. I port forwarded constantly when I was debugging something. Okay, and then if you right click again, you can on the pod. There's another option that's interesting, which is attach Visual Studio Code, which is amazing. Okay, so if you run that, basically it opens Visual Studio Code. This is what I was saying in Zed. PyCharm, by the way, has like a similar view with like similar options, but I tend to like the VS Code view much better. And basically they're both copying each other with every good feature eventually arrives in either.
Yeah.
So you
Starting
could
dev
open
container.
folder, you can install extensions like Python to have a real Python debugger inside the pod, which is pretty amazing.
Wow. That's yeah. That sounds amazing.
Yes, yes. So
Wow.
you basically have VS Code running on the pod, which is very cool. I should say, by the way, a pod doesn't necessarily map one-to-one to containers, only usually. A pod can have several containers
Sidecars.
inside,
Yeah.
sidecars or just two containers,
Really.
etc. Yeah.
Okay.
But usually it's useful to think of a pod as a one container, basically. And then another right click that you can run on a pod is logs. You could also run logs on a service or deployment to see like the logs of all three pods aggregated into one view, which is pretty cool. Okay.
Yeah.
It takes a little time because it kind of it has to install an agent on the pod.
Yeah. Yeah. That's all right.
Okay. So if you run right click logs on the pod, one of the pods or one of the ingresses, you run it. It opens like this view, but you could tell it in one of the settings by default to just like open a terminal, but you kind of have this like filter view, which I tend not to use, but you know, that might be useful if you want. You could see
Yeah.
destination web view, but you could also do destination terminal. Yeah, and then you could run, if you run it, you could see the logs. So it just does a lot of work for you. And what I like a lot is that it shows you the command that it's running in the terminal when it runs it.
That's nice. Yeah. That's really good to
That way
know.
you learn. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
So and so that's what I was saying. The reason is I like tree view and the K8s view at the same time, usually.
Yeah.
Another very cool thing is if you go back to one of the pod views,
Pod views.
you have one open, and one of the tabs is open with the YAML.
Yeah.
If you do Command S,
Save.
yeah, if you save it, then it just saves it in your work tree, just the copy, which I love.
Oh, it saved it locally. Okay.
Yep. Which is cool because sometimes you have things that create these pods and you're very indirected out of them. And sometimes you just want a certain pod running, but you want to delete all the crap and run something with sleep to debug it, for example. I'm just giving you, after half a year of debugging pods, my wisdom learned from it.
Yeah.
So you could save it locally and then run kubectl apply and then like bypass Argo or Argo CD or whatever and just like run things, which is cool. And I think, so I want to show you just custom resources. Everything that doesn't map under like cleanly under network or workflows like pods, jobs, etc. If you go back to the KS view.
When you say KS view, you mean here to just services?
So most things map, like most useful things map under workloads, pods, and Zeb, but you have custom resources as well. So that's another top level thing. And then that's going to take a while to load because it loads everything like from service accounts to like custom CRDs will load here as well.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think it's extremely useful to work with it. I know a DevOps engineer that is like very capable and adept with working with a command line, and he still uses this to navigate namespaces and clusters, and it's just a very useful tool.
Yeah.
Basically. So that's about it for me.
Awesome. Wow. Okay. Let's wrap it up. So what we actually did today is deploy a cluster and debug it with external IP quotas to actually get some Docker pools running. And we actually deployed the web service. We connected the load balancer. We don't know if it actually auto scales or it actually serves the traffic correctly to the 3 pods. Like we haven't proved
The
that.
load balancing, I don't know how you could debug that. I think that's easy to debug. It definitely doesn't auto scale. We don't have an auto scaler right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Auto
So
scaling is like a whole different beast. So
yeah. So no auto scaling yet, but the load balancer probably serves traffic between the pods that we do have. Probably, we don't know. We haven't
hopefully.
proved that. And apparently, VS Code has a nice Kubernetes extension that I need to learn how to navigate because it seems like it runs the correct commands and also helpful to actually teach me what are the correct commands.
And you should see that there's a refresh button on top, on the top right. That's
Yeah.
whatever view you're looking at, it refreshes. So if you're on nodes, it'll refresh the nodes. I think everything that's open when you click refresh should also refresh, but refresh generally
Yeah.
is a good thing to know. One last thing that I recommend that you do is find like a GitHub gist with a bunch of kubectl shortcuts. So you're going to be running kubectl get pods all the time,
Yeah.
and running kg is nice.
Um,
And I also think that K, if you install kubectl using brew or whatever it is, K should also just instead of kubectl as well.
I think I have another executable that overrode this, but I can probably just I think K is going to be useful for me. So then like this executable is like not that useful.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Yeah, but that's not. I don't worry about that. I like in Git, I have my aliases. In Kubernetes, I will have my aliases once I know what the useful things are. But KGP for
I started
kubegit.
the same way. I didn't have aliases until 2 weeks ago, and I've been using it for a year. I just wanted to get comfortable with the commands first before aliasing them.
So actually, like installing good aliases also teach you like what other people are using, which is a good thing. But also like just for comparison, if I actually go for which I don't know, like a crazy alias, but it is something useful for Git. It's like Jesus Christ is the right thing to say here. But basically, it says like if you have like your work tree is somewhat sharded and you just want to commit everything and go to something else, Git work in progress, so gwip. It's just commit everything, don't ask me questions, don't run pre-commit, don't do anything. Just
excuse me, why not just use git stash?
Because this is a little bit more like stash is global and this is confined to a branch.
Stash is global and this is confined to a branch. Okay, fine. But I like git stash because they added recently git stash -- staged. So it's also more.
Yeah, but this is this also commits like unstaged changes.
No, git stash by default commits everything, but git stash -- staged only stashes the staged, which I like.
Yeah.
All right, whatever. No, it's just
yeah.
a preference. Okay.
Yeah, and also like the like stash is stack based, and this is basically the unworking progress, the gun whip, the other side of that. What it does is it goes through your log and actually only uncommits. Like if you pop incorrectly, stash will actually destroy you, because I mean you could undo everything, of course, but what I mean is. This basically
get reset merge or whatever it is.
Yeah, but what I mean is like this just goes through the rev list, only goes like the one log level, like one level deep, and if it sees like this is the working progress commit, then it actually does that.
Wow, I really don't like augmenting my Git history.
I mean, it just don't push this working progress commit.
What if you've pushed it by accident?
So then why are you pushing so easily then? I don't know. Like
I don't like that. I like things that are foolproof.
I mean, okay, sure. I like having like my branches, being consistent, and like the stash is basically I'm hiding this change somewhere else, and then I need to remember to like reapply it whenever I go back. And like this means I've literally frozen this tree in the middle of time, and like it also like, the commit it says like skip CI. Like basically it says like this commit looks like don't commit me, basically. Don't merge me into a main or something like that. And if you've pushed this to a branch that's not like, if first of all, if you push to main, then well, it's on you. If you push to to your own branch, then no harm, no foul. Unless you have like crazy things going on when you push to like custom branches. But this,
Right.
yeah, okay. And Netanel, it's been super great, and I really learned a lot, so thank you very much. And
You're welcome.
yeah, and yeah, I don't know, maybe I'll see you in the next video, maybe not, depending on the like
You're gonna be a paid Kubernetes engineer, so
what
maybe in the next video you'll be paid to be doing this. So
if you want, we can talk about me paying you for this kind of guidance.
that's not what I meant.
Yeah. Yeah, so thank you very much. It's been awesome, and
Okay.
bye bye for now.